Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa from Confetti, and today I'm going to show you about a newer pattern I have called PeaPods. This pattern has 3-inch letters and comes with designs for 2 different methods of stitching these letters out. The first method is standalone letters. You will notice the lattice work to the applique. This makes them stand up in the wash better, the applique, so that they can be used on quilts and aprons and jackets, whatever you're going to throw into the wash. Here again we have the word star. And then we have the word PeaPods. The second method is for stitching these letters out in the hoop as quilted letter blocks with sashing. I made this version so that you can build your own words easily. As you can see here, I've put together the words PeaPods. Okay. Today I'm going to show you how to put your own word together. In this case, the word "so" using standalone letters. As you can see, I have cut my letters out already. I include SVGs with all my patterns that can be used with your preferred cutting machine. I also include PDFs for all the letters so they can be traced with Fusible and cut out. And if you want to do the cutaway method, you can still do that. However, you will have to repeat the placement stitch after you place your fabric. I've also included stitch out PDFs in the pattern that show the actual designs. What you'll do is you will choose the letters that you would like to use. In this case, we have the S, the E, and the W. You will cut them out about 1/4 inch all the way around. You will then tape these letters together so that you have the right spacing for your word. And then you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner you have these dots. This is what you're going to be using to mark your fabric so that you can stitch out one letter at a time. Once you have your letters cut out and taped together, you're going to draw a horizontal line on your fabric. You're going to take your word, you're going to fold it in half, and you're going to center you can draw a vertical line as well. You're going to center your word on those lines. So here you go, and here you go. So here's the line, and here's the line. Then you're going to take your blue marker, oops, and you're going to mark underneath where everything starts. So that little blue line, or that little black dot, will be here. This little black dot will be about here. This little black dot will be about here. So that's going to be the bottom left-hand corner of each of your hoopings. So you can extend that up to here, extend that to here, extend that to here. All right. Now we're going to stitch out the word "so." The first letter we're going to pull up is the S. I'm going to use a black bobbin for this part of my embroidery. The only time I use a black bobbin is when I do a lot of stitching with black thread. And the first thing, after the placement line, the first thing that we will be stitching out on the fabric is the drop shadow. So I'm going to just put the black bobbin and the black thread right in from the beginning, and then it's just there. So the first thing we are going to stitch out right now is the basting box, okay? That's what we're going to use to place our fabric in the correct position. Now we'll take the hoop out and take it over to our wool mat to place the fabric. Okay, we've got our hoop. We have our placement line for our fabric. This is where the bottom left-hand dot is going to line up. Okay. What I did do is I went back and I added vertical lines where each of the dots are going to meet with a horizontal line. That gives me 3 points in each case to line up the next hooping. Okay, so I'm going to take my hoop. I've got my 3 pins here. I'm using a wool mat, and I like it because it's nice and thick. And when I put the pins in to hold the fabric, they really stick. So I'm going to take that corner, put right the corner there. I'm going to put it right there. Can you see that? Right there. And then I'm going to arrange my fabric. I don't want anything to pull. I'm going to take another pin. You can see I want to put a pin there, so I'm going to take a pin kind of right about there. Okay, so that's 2 pins. And then I have a 3rd pin here. You can see up there. You're going to line that up there, and I'm going to put that in. So nothing's pulling. I've got my fabric there. So now I'm going to take a little 505 and I'm going to spray just to hold it down. Okay, when I'm finished, I can take out the pins, and we're ready to go stitch. All right, here we have the 2 applique pieces for the letter S. I've got my small iron. So I'm going to put these fit like puzzle pieces, so you want them to place them as accurately as possible in the placement lines. You can iron them down. If you don't want to hit your thread, you can also use an ironing cloth, a little piece of fabric so that it doesn't melt the polyester thread. I will do that next time. I don't have one here right now. So try to get them down pretty well. I will get that cloth. Because this way I can really iron them down tightly. That's exactly how I do it. Okay, so now they're down tightly. We will move back to the machine and we will start stitching everything out. The next thing that we'll stitch out will be the lattice work. That'll be one color. Then there'll be the outside of the green, the outside of the pink, and then there is a triple stitch that will go around the entire letter. Okay, here we go. Okay, I've switched back to a white bobbin. I use white the majority of the time. I usually only use the black bobbins when I use large areas of black. And I put a lime green into the top, and we will see how this works. Okay, I've removed the hoop. I usually try to take this basting stitch out while it's attached to the stabilizer. I think it's a little bit easier just to get the basting stitch out. That little knot's always hard, I'm just telling you. There we go. There we go. This is crisp and tear. It's like OESD makes a heavyweight. I've learned all about stabilizers. There's soft and tear, and that's a bit softer, but this is crisp and I like it because it almost perforates. So there you go. So that's the S. Now the next letter we'll do is going to line up right here. Okay, so I'll go get that ready and I'll come back. I'll leave this here and we will line up the second hooping. Okay, brought up the E and I've stitched out the placement line. Okay, so now I have my S, and as we did before, here's the line that's going to line up with the E. See, that's the dot for the E. So here we go. We put the dot in there, and there we go. We put it right in the bottom there. Okay. What did I do with my other pens? Here's another pen. Okay, we can go here. That looks pretty good. Here's my last pin. I just find that 3 spots really help. There we go. Let's see. Yep, if you can see it underneath there, put it right there. Okay, nothing's pulling. That's big. Because if it was pulling, then it wouldn't be really lined up straight. Little 505 again. Little 505 again. Okay. But again, we know this is the center, okay, because we taped our word together. We folded it in half. That's where everything lies out. So if you have a lot longer word, that's fine, but just you're gonna have to do it the same way. A center vertical, a horizontal, and you're gonna have to mark up all your different dots. Okay, back over to the machine. And there we have it. It is finished. SCW. Pretty easy. You can spell anything you want using these PeaPod letters. If you're looking for another fun pattern, I also have a new bit o' color. These letters are all embroidery, and they're about 2 inches square. They are, there's 13 colors that I use when I create the letters, and they can be sorted on a lot of the embroidery machines, the more advanced embroidery machines. Otherwise, you can just stitch out one letter at a time. And again, the same way that I laid out the letters for PeaPod, each of the standalone letters for bit of color comes the same way. So you could draw your line and then stitch one letter out at a time. Okay, thanks for joining me today. Follow us on Facebook, Fabric Confetti, or fabricconfetti.com. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today with PeaPod letter lesson. If you'd like to learn more about Fabric Confetti, go to fabricconfetti.com or your nearest quilting store.